You being here. What questions you have?
John, you have such a big win like that, emotional win, all of that, quick turnaround. What's the message to the team? And secondly, does it almost in some ways help to have that quick turnaround in a weird way?
Well, I think it's just our guys understood what was in front of us, and they were in here today, ready to go to work. Obviously, the win was a good win, so it's a good feeling about that. We're happy with that, but there's really no time to dwell on it too much. We made the corrections from the game, which there were plenty to make, and all eyes are on Wednesday night.
Want to talk about the highs? Don't get let the highs be too high, the lows be too low. After similarly just emotional big win for you, how do you stop from going so high on that positivity?
Well, these guys are pro football players, and they understand. Coaches, we understand. You've got to come back in. You got to get ready. We had to put a practice together, a game plan together, in a short period of time. Something that we had been preparing to do, so it was pretty much laid out. But you've got to organize it, and there's tweaks you have to make, and we'll be doing that all week up until game time. Really, and the players the same, because they know that 4 o'clock on Wednesday, on Christmas afternoon, we're going to be lining up against a very good football team, and that's kind of the sobering part of it. You know what's in front of you, and we've got to be ready for it.
John, what do you see from CJ Stroud's evolution? We saw him as a rookie back in week 1, and now he's been playoffs last year to now. How's he grown?
Well, he just continues to grow. He's just a super talented guy. I remember watching him at Ohio State. He'd make all those outside breaking routes on the dime, on the sideline, and just got a strong arm. He's very active, quick release, makes a lot of tight window throws to his receivers. Ironically, to a Michigan guy, Nico Collins. And he's got a great back as a home run hitter, but he's surrounded with some good weapons, and he gets the ball out quick, handles pressure well, he can move, he's athletic, scrambles and makes plays. All those things are things that he does.
John, dangerous sort of pass rushers specifically on the edge with Anderson and some of the other.
I got the 2 top guys, of course, but then I look at the roster and it's not just them. They got a whole bunch. They got 6 guys that can get to the quarterback off the edge that we're going to have to contend with.
John, when you went back and looked at what you guys did so well against them when they had the ball on offense last year, what impressed you with just the execution from last year?
Well, I really haven't looked at that game yet, so I'll probably get to that game at some point in time here, but I don't really remember it right now. Looked at their last couple games this year, so it seemed more relevant.
So Rasheen Ali, you got a carry yesterday. What have you seen from him, I guess, in practice, if he needs to fill in for Justice for a little while?
Great question about Rashid. I think he's ready. We saw him the week before in the 4-minute, made some good tough runs, and it was good to see that. Probably good preparation for him because he got hit, had to protect the football, got a feel for the speed of the game. I think he'll be ready to go. He's pretty good in pass protection, so in practice he knows what he's doing. But until you get out there and play in a regular game and be challenged with all the things that go with it, you don't really know. He'll have an opportunity to kind of show what he's all about.
With Kyle Vannoy, he set a new career high in sacks yesterday. What do you see about his game that's allowed him to have so much success at this point of his career?
Well, I don't know about the comparison. I just know since he's been here, he's been a pro. He's always been able to rush the passer. Since he's been here, he has, and he's really finds a way. He's just got a good knack for the game. He's got a sense of where the quarterback's going to go. He made some mistakes also in the game yesterday that he was frustrated with, but he also made some plays, and even on the turnover play where he didn't do it well, but then he hustled and got the ball. So, he just kind of plays like that, and he's opportunistic and a veteran guy. It's awesome to see him get all these sacks. It's great to see.
John, speaking of Texas pass rushers, Roger Rosenberg, a guy who had another good game yesterday for you guys, and really hit TJ Watt. That's a nice run box as well. What's impressed you about his development?
Steady improvement. Golly, Roger, you remember the first game or two, he was learning and got a couple of tough lessons there, especially in the first game. And nothing really phases him. He's a very confident guy. And at the same time, he understands that I don't think he thinks he's ever going to arrive. He's the kind of guy that's just tough. He's kind of he's got a football head. He likes football, and he likes to work at it. He's a competitive guy. He wants to do well. He's very tenacious, and it's paying off.
John, do you think Keaton Mitchell is ready to go if you need him to kind of step in Wednesday?
Oh yeah, Keaton's been ready to go. It's just a matter of, there's levels of being ready to go. He's coming off the injury, but I would say in practice we've seen steady progress with his, his explosiveness, his quickness, and all that. And he's been looking good in practice.
John, I know it's less than 24 hours after the game, but I mean, do you have any feeling for any of the guys who popped up on the injury report today? They might not be available on Wednesday. I think it was Falele and Zay.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about those guys.
John, you see Marlon Humphrey be kept in the full healthy year basically, and he is taking advantage of that, making the plays that earned him all pro before, get back to being that guy because he's been on the field when you need those plays that have been early on, they weren't there as often as you needed. But to see him do that, how important is that for this team now and going forward?
Really important. Marlon, and we say it sometimes, you need your best players playing their best. And they need to be the guys out there making a difference. And anybody can make a difference, but Marlon's a guy we count on, and Marlon comes through. He's made so many plays for us, and there's a lot of guys in that category on this team. And he was the guy yesterday to come up with a pick six. That was just a massive play for us. It was one of those plays that are difference maker plays in seasons, I think. And, I was pretty fired up when he was running up that sideline. I think everybody was.
He talked in the off. I mean, he said multiple times that he felt like he took a different approach coming into the season, and that he thought it was a big season in terms of the trajectory of his career. I mean, did you get that sense coming into the year?
Yeah, he and I talked at the end of last year about that. Just from a training standpoint, and kind of what he was going to do in terms of his conditioning, and I think he was going to get back to some things he had done, over the years, in terms of getting his body ready, and it definitely paid off.
John, I think that the last job that George Warhop had before Baltimore with you was on that 2022 Texans team. When you guys kind of were interviewing him for the position on the staff, did you guys talk at all about maybe what you learned from that? I know he's been around the block a bunch of times, but just your kind of takeaways from what he's taken from that Texans spot and maybe what he would bring to Baltimore, building on that experience.
Yeah, I've known George since we were both 25. And he was the assistant offensive line coach at Kansas with Mike Solari, and Mike Solari is one of the legendary offensive line coaches, and he trained Hop, and then we not like we were best buddies through the years, but we knew of each other and kind of just like followed his career, and I know how highly respected he was. So there really was no interview. It wasn't like I needed to find anything out about him. I knew what kind of a coach he was, and the circumstances as they were. He was available and he wanted to do it, and it was just it was a godsend. It really was a godsend for our team, and I think George is happy and he's doing a great job.
All right.
All right, great,
Let's
thanks.
go.